offseason. I will start this off by giving the 5 teams that just barely missed the cut. That is the Boston Celtics, the Orlando Magic, the Phoenix Suns, and the Detroit Pistons, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. All 5 teams did make some form of moves or another that boosted the teams. I think it was a successful offseason. But here's my top 5. At number 5, the Sacramento Kings. The reason for the Sacramento Kings ranking in at number 5 for myself is they added an all-star in DeMar DeRozan, essentially replacing DeMar DeRozan, or essentially replacing Harrison Barnes with DeMar DeRozan. I think that's an incredible upgrade for the team. I think he fits in perfectly as well. Number 4, the New Orleans Pelicans. You get DeJounte Murray coming in there. You also add in Daniel Theis, solid addition there as well. But DeJounte Murray, I think, fits in perfectly with this team. And at this point in time, you now have a roster that contains DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. The center spot's a little bit rough right now. We have a couple young guys, but those 4 guys are very, very lethal. 4 guys to have in your starting lineup. At number 3, the San Antonio Spurs. Now, this doesn't necessarily make this team a contender off the right out of the gate and make the jump that some of these other teams in this list just made. However, getting 2 guys that are good guys, good veteran presences, one of which is a first ballot Hall of Famer in Chris Paul, is exactly what the Spurs needed. They have a plethora of talented guys that are young, up-and-coming guys headed by Victor Wembanyama. What they needed was a point guard that could go in there and set him up for success, teach him the ropes of the NBA a little bit better, continue to grow the young guys, be a mentor for the young guards, be a mentor for all the other young players. And that's exactly what you get in Chris Paul. He's going to be a perfect guy to fit right in that team. He's a coach on the floor. I think him and Coach Pop will mesh perfectly. And then you had Harrison Barnes, a guy that's been an established veteran, a guy that's won at the highest of levels between his Golden State years, between his years in Sacramento now the past couple of seasons. He is also a massive addition for that team. Top 2. This is tough for me, but number 2, I had to go with the New York Knicks. The reason I put them at number 2, not number 1, it's razor thin. But for number 2, the New York Knicks, they re-signed Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, both of them on massive deals that ultimately benefit the team. Neither one was probably an overpay per se, but I love both those additions now, or re-signings. Now for the additions, you add in Mikal Bridges, fits in perfectly. We know the culture is going to be even greater there now. You also get Keita Bates-Diop, Cameron Payne as well goes out there. And this is a team that already was a contender. And remember, they didn't have Julius Randle in the playoffs as well. Mitchell Robinson was banged up now. Is he going to be healthy at any point? That's to be determined. We do not know that. He's been banged up a lot. I love what the New York Knicks have done. They nailed the offseason. But the only reason they weren't number 1 is because the Philadelphia 76ers came to play this offseason. They set this team up for the most success possible. We all know that it all comes down to what Joel Embiid is going to look like, whether or not he's going to be healthy come postseason time. And now with the big addition you had in Paul George, that also determines is he going to be healthy in the postseason. We know it hasn't worked out very well with the LA Clippers the past 4 years. But on paper, if this team is healthy, this is by far the best Philadelphia 76ers team of the Joel Embiid era. You add Andre Drummond to that mix. Obviously, I just talked about Paul George. You get Eric Gordon, Caleb Martin, all 4 guys that will be impact rotational guys for this team. Then you re-sign 3 guys specifically that were obviously going to be key components. Tyrese Maxey, get him locked in to be the future guard of the team. Kelly Oubre had a massive season for them last year. He's back. Kyle Lowry stays home. He's returning. And then you get KJ Martin as well. This team is deep. This team is talented. You would have 3 guys that are legitimate all-stars on this roster, great rotational role players. This is a team that I do think can go very, very far when we look at the whole landscape of the NBA this upcoming season. It all comes down to injuries, though. If they're hurt, if Joel Embiid is not healthy and not 100%, they're not going to do anything. But this team has more than enough talent to be extremely successful this offseason.